Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Grassi, and I am your instructor for Excel Level 1 this quarter, the first quarter of the spring semester, quarter 3, technically, is what we'd call it. So, welcome to Excel Level 1. I wanted to create this video just to kind of go over some of the things that I want you to pay attention to, point out things that'll be helpful for you as you work through the course. Hopefully, these things will be helpful for you. So number one, if you are watching this video, it's because you found it in the announcement that I'll be creating here in a minute. So here you can see the first announcement that I posted last week with all the information for the course. So hopefully you've already read through this and you know all of the things that are mentioned in here. A couple of things I do want to note: a Mac may not be used for this class. You certainly could hobble through with a Mac for a couple of things like the review problem or the final projects. I will be honest, I've had people use Macs, but they struggled with it. It took them a lot more time to complete the class because the Mac is very different from Windows when it comes to how Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint looks. So just note that there are some differences. The Cengage piece specifically will not work on the Mac. So no matter what, you'd have to at least do some of the work on a PC. And you can always check out those computers from the library if needed. Other thing that will not work is the Chromebook. Because you need to download and install Microsoft Office. It needs to be installed on your computer versus using what we'd call the cloud version. You need to have it, you need to be going to your start menu and opening Word or Excel in this case. This is how you're getting to it versus logging into your email and opening it from the cloud. So you want to make sure that you're using the version of Excel that you're getting from the start menu. That would be what we call our client version. It's going to have all of the features you need for the class. If you're using the cloud version, there's going to be some things that aren't available to you, and everything will look very different. Okay, the other thing I want to make sure you note here is there is an assignment due January 29th, which is this Friday at noon, January 29th. If I don't have the Software Learning Center orientation completed and the first assignment turned in by noon, I will have to mark you absent for this first week of class. So that's kind of how we take attendance for online classes, that we have something due right away so that we can see you're in the class and participating and can mark you either present or absent. So if it's not in by then, you will be marked absent for the class. The syllabus, hopefully you've taken just a moment to look at that. I know you probably have seen many syllabuses already this semester, but what I just want to point out a couple things here. First of all my information at the top here, my phone number, this rings to my desk. If you leave a voicemail, it is my voicemail. The voicemail also goes to my email. So I would get it whether I'm on campus or not. Email is also a very quick way to get a hold of me. I'll be able to respond to you faster through an email than a phone call. So if I teach every day of the week on campus, so if I'm in class, Mondays and Wednesdays especially, I teach all day. So it might be a little bit longer before I could get back to you on that. So just note that if you're ever on campus and you need extra help or have questions, and you know what, I just realized there's a mistake on here. We don't meet on Wednesdays. That was my class last semester. I forgot to take that out. I apologize. This class is online, so you don't meet in person. I do have a class on Wednesdays from 1 to 2:25, but it won't be Excel. It'll be Access. So anyway, this class is online. Darn it. How many times do I look at those syllabus and I still messed it up? Okay. As you keep going in here, I just want to point out the grading scale. There is 455 points total for the class. For an A, you have to get a 93 or above. A B is 92 to 86, and a C is 85 to 80. If you get anything below an 80, you're going to have to retake the class. So just watch that. For all your classes, you have to have a C or better in order to graduate from your program at LTC, no matter what program you're in. Okay, I'll let you read through all of this stuff. But just the main thing I wanted to mention here, student support services. If you are having troubles with the class, of course, I would be your first line of questioning. I want to help you, do what I can to help you be successful in the class. If it's an off time, this tutor.com can be really helpful. I just had a student tell me today that she's used that and it's been really helpful. Of course, you might not be able to wait to the last second when doing your work, but it is actually available right here in Blackboard. And when you open it up, I'll just open it here quickly. You'll see kind of what it looks like here. There's topics in here for all your classes. You can see Microsoft is one of them. But writing, math, anything, you have this tutor.com available to you. In addition to that, you have within LTC in the library, there's always going to be somebody who can help you with Microsoft questions there in the Academic Support Center. But again, I'm also happy to help you with anything that you might need in the class. Hopefully you won't be dropping the class, but just note the longer you wait to drop, it's the less money you get back. And at a certain point, no matter whether you drop or not, it's still going to show up as an F on your transcript. So it'll be a WF maybe instead of an F, but it still shows up that way on your transcript. And I believe it does negatively affect your GPA. So if you're going to drop, you need to drop it immediately. Otherwise, as it kind of says here, it can have some financial implications. So it's best to maybe reach out to your advisor as well. Okay, as we keep going here, you'll come to the schedule, which is important for you to note. As I already mentioned, Software Learning Center orientation is due Friday at noon. You need to complete all of it, which might sound like a lot, but it's really not. So we'll look at that here in a minute. From there, I have everything laid out according to the learning plans. You'll see that for every learning plan, you have around a week and a half. So I either have due dates on Thursday or on Sunday. So just kind of watch that. If you have a due date on Thursday for this first learning plan, then you have another week and a half to get the next learning plan done, which is due on that Sunday. And then again, another week and a half to get the next one done, and so on. The only one that's a little more scrunched is right at the end. Once you have this due date on Sunday, March 7th, note that you then have the following Sunday that the next one is due. That's your final project. So just note that that's a little bit less time at the end there to do your final. You just have 1 week instead of a week and a half to do your final project. Just note all of the assignments for each module, and I'm going to go over that here in a second. So everything is laid out for you here as far as what's due. Going back into our learning plans here, hopefully you all have at least, had a second to look at the orientation. And the one thing I should mention are these classes: Word Level 1, Excel Level 1, PowerPoint Level 1. They're all a part of what we call the Software Learning Center. Almost every program in the Business and Technology Division takes these classes, at least Word and Excel. So there's multiple instructors teaching the exact same courses. We might lay out things a little differently, but you're all doing the same thing. So what I wanted to mention is that not all these videos are mine, because especially in the orientation here, Chris Chesky, one of the other instructors, has made a lot of these videos. So it might seem kind of odd in your head to be like, oh, I have this video created for you. You hear my voice and then you open up another video and it's a male Chris Chesky talking. So I always wonder, you might be a little surprised at the moment when you're like, wait a second, who is this? But I'm your instructor, but for these videos and here, these are the same for everyone. So Chris created those, and we continue to use those from semester to semester. So for the orientation, again, a lot of this is just kind of checking to make sure everything's working on your computer, to make sure that the Cengage piece is going to work. So if you have not used or created your Cengage account, this is going to be really important right now, because you need to get in there and get your code registered. And I would not wait until Thursday night to do this, because if you run into any issues, you might not be able to get this completed on time. So if you have a Cengage Unlimited account already, this might be a little smoother. If you don't, I've had people have no problems. In fact, about half of the class at this point has already done this. So I know that people have gone through and haven't had any issues. But as I mentioned in my first announcement, Cengage is really helpful. So if you are working through this and you're running into issues, you can contact Cengage technical support. There's a form that you can fill out. For instance, I'll just open this, and there's a form you fill out, and there's also a number available that you can call on here. Oh, I thought there was a number on here. Yeah, it's down in here, so you can always call somebody as well. But if you're having any issues, you can contact them and they'll help you out. There's also other things you can look up here. But if it's an issue with your code, I have had some students in class that have had trouble, and we just call them, and they help the students get through that. So you can use that as well to get a hold of them. Okay, so then you're going to do your getting started project once you get everything set up. And I'm just going to show you briefly what you're going to be looking to do here. I should just fix my pop-up blocker. I thought I already did this. You'll probably find that even though you tell it to allow it, you still might have some trouble getting this to launch every time. It might continue to give you pop-up issues. And we'll just wait a second here. And this getting started project is a good practice for some of the assignments you'll do in Cengage as well. So you'll see here, well, number one, it's going to ask you, do you have the correct versions? You can always check that. Notice here, assignment details, maximum number of submissions allowed 3, number of submissions remaining 3. So if you'd go through this assignment and you would not get a perfect score, you can go back and do it again. And this is how some of the projects will be, and I'll point that out in a little bit here. But I'm going to hit the start here. It's going to take me to the next page. And if any of you have taken Word already, this is the exact same getting started project. Might seem a little weird because now you're in Excel, but it's having you do a Word getting started project, but it just is kind of stepping you through the process on submitting an assignment. So I would download the instruction file and I would download the start file. It's always important that you make sure that your start file has your name in it. So I'm going to open the instruction file here and enable editing. And then I'm going to open the getting started file. And again, I just want to point out your name should be here. If you submit an assignment that is not your name here, you'll receive a 0 on it because the assumption is you turned in somebody else's work for your work. So if your name is not here, you want to close it out, go back through Cengage and make sure that you're the one who's logged in. If there's just something weird happening, I don't know. I haven't had this happen yet, but other instructors have had students submit other people's work. And this is how it happens because your name will go right into the title. So if I look at our instructions here, and I'm just going to put these files side by side. You can do this a couple different ways. I'm just going to put my mouse up here on my title bar. I'm going to left click and drag. And I'm going to drag to the right here until that little kind of shadow pops up there. And I'm going to let go. And then it gives me this window. And I'm going to click. This is the other window that I want to be side by side with my page. So that's one nice thing if you just want the instructions right next to what you're working on. The negative is you'll see here my ribbon looks a lot different now because all of my menus are kind of scrunched together. So that's the one negative to it. I do have students that will just bring up or just print this so it's right in front of them, or they'll bring up this piece maybe on their iPad or other device, and then they'll have their laptop with the other part of it. So however you want to do that. In this particular case, and what they'll do for all assignments that start like this is you're going to save it first with a different title. And it will mark it wrong. If you don't even have the right file name in there, it'll mark it wrong. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm just going to put this on my desktop so I know where to find it. And the only thing I'm changing is I'm taking out this 1 and making it a 2. The only thing I'm changing, I'm going to make sure it's on my desktop here so I can find it. And then I'm going to hit Save. And then it tells us if the footer does not display your name, so I need to scroll down my page and make sure my footer is in there. Yep. And then it tells you to download and start over. They always will have this good to know information, so it's important to read through that as well. Don't do anything extra is what they're going to tell you, because they might mark it wrong if you do something they don't ask you to do. So don't do that. And then you'll get to the point where they actually have the project steps. So here it just gives us instructions for this project. You'll complete a simple sample step by entering text into a Word file. You'll then submit your file for grading through the SAM website. So in the first blank paragraph of a document, and if you haven't had Word yet, when they say paragraph, they just mean line. That's a line in Word. And I'm just going to type in hello. And then it always on these projects always shows you what it should look like when you're done. So I'm going to scroll down and look at the figure to make sure that it looks like it's supposed to. The only difference is they don't have the footer in there. But that's all I had to do. So now I'm going to just hit save one more time, make sure it's saved. And then it tells you to submit your file. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to close out these files here. Now I'm back at Cengage. I'm going to hit continue. And it tells me to click here or drag and drop to upload my file. So I'm going to click here. You can drag and drop as well. I like to click and open, but however you want to do that. And of course, I can't really remember, what is this, SAM? Here we go. Here's the file. Open. And probably this is going to be the moment where my computer is going to be slow. There we go. And then once I have that there, see how it shows up here and it says ready to submit, has the green check mark. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And then it grades it immediately. And I can click on here to find out what my grade is. So I'm going to click on graded summary report. Hopefully I'm going to find out that I got a perfect score on this. So I'm going to open the report and it's going to tell me that I got a 5 out of 5. And it's showing me, and so all of the projects, the end of module projects you do, you're going to get this report at the end to tell you if there's anything wrong, what you did wrong, and it'll tell you exactly what you did wrong, so that if you did get something wrong, you can go back and do it again and resubmit. In this case, I got it correct, so I'm good to go. I'm just going to close that out, and I'm going to move on to my next assignment. So I'm going to close out MindTap now. And at that point, if I can't show you this here because the grading, I would show everybody's grades, and I can't bring that up because I don't want to show you everybody's grades. But on your end, you would see that you have a grade in the gradebook for your Getting Started project. So you'd want to look in Blackboard, make sure it's there, then you know you've met the competencies for this first week. And from there, then you'd go into your learning plan 1. So you'll notice for all the learning plans, I have the due dates on the outside of the folder. I also have them all open. In the past, we've kind of had these open separately. When you complete one, the next one opens. I had a little issue with that, so this time I just opened them all. Hopefully that doesn't overwhelm you too much, but you can see the due dates on the outside of each of these, so you know when everything's due. When I go into Learning Plan 1, you'll see I have videos in here for you. This first video also demonstrates the Getting Started project, but these cover the modules, which I think at this point, this video is getting a little long. So I'm going to stop for a moment, end this video, and then pick up with the Learning Plan 1 video to kind of get into more detail on that.